What's good, Chicago? What the deal be? This is Kahlief Adams here in full effect, rocking with y'all. Episode 337 of the Spawn Me podcast, the premier podcast spotlighting people of color in the video game industry. I hope that you're all doing well. I hope that you are all feeling good. I hope that everything is good in your spaces. I hope that you are feeling and emoting and giving each other love and giving each other space to feel things in the way that you want to and need to. I know that things right now are very, very difficult. I know that things go all over the place in lots of different ways. I know that today is a very special day. We get a chance to be super, super black with some of the dopest folks in the industry, because I know that we all have thoughts about what we are seeing, hearing, and feeling in the world today. So I am super excited to rock with the dopest black panel here on Twitch with y'all today. I have rock with me Zombaekillz, Parris, Lilly, Blessing Adeoye Jr., Pikachulita, and Cameron Hawkins. What the deal be, everybody, tonight? How are you all doing?
Great.
That was a terrible way to tell
everybody. Up to this
everybody
point,
to
a
talk
little
at the same
depressed.
time.
Up to this point,
I was like, I don't know if that's
but
a good question to ask right now, because I don't think everybody's like, good, yeah.
Well, let me do it this way. Let me go around the circle and do it that way. So, because that was a terrible way to intro a whole show with 5 people on it. Zombe, how are you? How is everything right now? How are you feeling? How are you kind of dealing right now with everything that's happening of late?
I'm a black mom, so I'm scared. I'm scared for my son. I'm the mother of a black son. I have 3 black children. I am very, at this point right now, it's more like my life. I've been through it, with the police. If you know me, I'm a prison reform activist. I'm pretty big about it. But I'm worried about my children. I'm worried about everyone's children. I'm worried about all brown children, all brown people right now. It's depressing. It's scary. It's more fear for me than anything else.
Yeah. Parris, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm frustrated, and I co-sign everything that she just said. I am a black man in America. I am a black father with a black son, and I have 2 black daughters. And from Amy Cooper all the way down to what we're experiencing right now with Mr. Floyd, it's scary, man. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It is scary to be black in this country today, period, point blank. And I'm not so much worried about myself. Like I said, I'm worried about my kids and especially my son, because as we saw with Amy Cooper, he is a threat. That is how he is viewed. And that bothers me, that it doesn't matter how educated you are. It doesn't matter how good of a person you are. It doesn't matter what you do in this world. You are instantly judged in the United States of America by your skin tone, period, point blank. And you would think at this point in time in 2020, we would be beyond that somewhat, but we aren't. I mean, everything that my parents fought for and my grandparents fought for to get civil rights in the 1960s still doesn't matter. That's where I am today.
Bless, how you feeling?
Overall, I'm doing all right. But yeah, to echo Zombaekillz and Parris, it's been an interesting time, right? Especially in the midst of a pandemic, right? There've been there's been a lot of having to figure out ways to cope and ways to kind of go forward with quite a few things going on. I know I've been really stressed lately with everything going on. Today was one of those days where I woke up, looked at my phone, and got very frustrated. And George Floyd isn't necessarily a new story in the grand scope of things. We've had these stories over and over and over again, and it's been one of those things where I look at the other stories that we've gotten over the years, and at a certain point, I had to kind of tune myself out, because I remember getting upset, and I remember getting depressed, and I remember feeling ways that I didn't want to feel in the moment, reading stories about these shootings, seeing people suffer, seeing people upset. And yeah, this morning was one of those mornings where I kind of allowed myself to feel again, in terms of what that was, in terms of the George Floyd, the situation around him. This morning was definitely one of the first times again where I was like, all right, man, this isn't okay. This is not a thing that is okay. And so yeah, within the context of that, it's not it's not been a great day by any means, of course. That said, I think, for me personally, I've been trying to find ways to kind of cheer myself up and feel more upbeat. And so, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Pika, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Today has been a pretty rough day for me. It was crazy because it seems like every day it's been something new. It's been, it already started off kind of when all this stuff kind of happened. It was already bad, but then just progressively each day things have gotten, more critical, more serious. And it's exhausting. It's tiring, even just within yourself, and also thinking about other people. Last night I literally thought about, the stuff that like Zombie said. Like, I can only imagine. I don't have any children yet, but I can only imagine what it feels like to be raising a Black child right now. I've got friends of mine who are expecting, or, I've got nephews and things like that. And it just is, I mean, I not only fear for like obviously the safety of adults, but also like bringing and rearing children, during this time, like how scary that must be, on top of all the other things that we have to worry about. Like, I think it was, Bless said, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. It's like that's still happening on top of all this. So that just kind of adds, fuel to the fire. But I think and it happens every single time. I mean, it's literally like clockwork. It's not new, but it's bad enough that these things happen, but it's even worse because you not only have to deal with the actual situation, you have to deal with everything else that comes along with it, and people being just absolutely terrible. And it seems like a lot of us end up getting a sort of experience where we have somebody that we once admired or liked or were friends with who says something that is extremely problematic, insensitive, whatever else. And here we are. Like, I feel like every single time I've done a pretty good job at cultivating my sort of like social media, both audience as well as the people that I interact with, to reflect, to where I don't have to really worry about that. But at some point or another, I end up unfriending, unfollowing, or blocking somebody. And it's like, yeah, that's good for my mental health. But at the same time, I'm the type of person that just knowing that these sorts of people or opinions or whatever else exist is just, it's very frustrating. And it hurts. It really kind of, I feel like I do so much to try to help people and to kind of help humanity. And, it doesn't make me feel anything towards my own people, but even just like other people, it definitely kind of it feels like it turns the outlook grim, and you just feel kind of hopeless. And I retweeted a tweet last night on my Twitter about how, it's one of those things that you want to disconnect, but at the same time, you're almost like, you can't stop looking because you want to be informed and you don't want to miss anything, and you kind of want to stay up to date. But every like update or every new tweet on your timeline, it just like kind of rubs salt in the wound. So it's kind of an almost like an abusive relationship that we have with all this coverage and everything going on. And it's just, I had a headache for a good part of the day, needless to say. And I'm very tired, and I kind of just, I was already out of, I guess cares to give. I kind of censored myself there, but
you don't have to.
Really. Oh, I don't have to?
No, you totally don't.
Oh, okay. Well, I ran out of fucks to give. I'm at this point, I ran out a long time ago, but especially at this point, I'm just like, I obviously I care about the situation, but in terms of like the sort of reaction and reception to a lot of people speaking out about it, I've been very happy to see the people that I interact with speaking out about it, especially, non-brown and Black folk. It's made me very, very happy. And I'm like, I've chosen the right people to surround myself around. And I'm very happy. And I, needless to say, haven't had anybody that I know personally that I've had to have a talk with. But it's still just like more so that there was never really any fucks about speaking about this stuff, but especially not at this point. So it's like, it's unfortunate. I feel like this isn't going to change anytime soon. So just, I know it's kind of a long-winded answer, but I'm tired. I feel beat down and tired. It's rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Cam, how are you coping right now? How are you feeling about everything that's been going on?
So I'm also feeling very, very tired about everything that's been happening. I think this has been, just with all the variables that went into this George Floyd case, it just kind of just hit the tipping point for me finally, where I was just like, I'm just so tired of seeing Black people get killed by the police, just all these injustices. And similar to what Parris said about, being a parent to a Black son, like, I'm 26 years old, but I'm still my mother's son, and she's, a white immigrant. Both of us were from England, and she, she left her whole family and raised me and things like that. So she like, I'm all she has, basically. So thinking about whenever I interact with a police officer or see a police officer, and having that mentality that, while I don't think that like, every cop is going to do this, but like the possibility that they could do something to me unjustly, and it's scary. It's scary. So yeah, I honestly took a break from social media earlier today until I was promoting that the show was happening, because I think it's important. And I just took a nap. I was just like, I need to like just be away from the world right now.
Yeah.
And take a break after getting all the information that I needed, and then my fiance, who's not Black, like she was, she held me today and like cried a little bit, because she understands the circumstances and the reality of what's going on right now. And I was telling her, you gotta be strong for me, I need you to stay strong for me, because yeah, it's tiring, it's exhausting, but I'm glad that we're all here right now and we're going to talk about this together.
Yeah, I didn't cry today. 2 episodes ago I did on the show, and it was a lot of snot bubble crying. But I sat a lot today just alone and tried to figure out how I was going to talk about this tonight. I was going to do it solo, but I was like, I need help. It's like, I need help today. And try to figure out good ways to broach the conversation and broach the subject. We're definitely going to get into the conversation about our dear beloved friend in Central Park, for sure. We're definitely going to get to that part of the conversation, because there's a specific question I want to ask all of you about that. But yeah, this has been a long fucking week, man. Like, this has been like the craziest 96 hours that I've seen in a long time.
This week has been beating everybody's ass. I don't know what it is.
Everybody's ass. And I'm just like,
man, y'all talking about this week. I mean, it's
yeah, I was gonna say, dude, that's
the year.
That's been for like a month.
This is the year that has lasted 20 freaking years. It's just ongoing.
Yeah,
it's
that's
insane.
like that's the crazy thing for me is I got to the beginning of this week and I was like, man, I think things are finally coming around, and then I get to like the last couple of days, and it's like, man, like really, like we can't get a break. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, and it was just like this waterfall of whiteness for the past 96 hours of just like, I'm used to being upset about all the things that I see white people get away with in comparison to what we get a chance to be able to do while we just live. But this week is like raised this up to some other level that I didn't know I was going to be this mad for this long, and I didn't know what to do with it, because we had just all gone through some shit a week ago or 2 weeks ago or the week before that, where we get a chance to see this stuff because it's in our circles, and get a chance to kind of commiserate and to figure out what we want to do and all that stuff. My question to you to bridge that out was, I know what my initial feelings and reactions were when I saw the first video of George. I know some people didn't watch it. I personally feel compelled to watch that stuff. I'm weird like that. It's a part of my upbringing from my grandma to be like, you have to understand what they're doing to you. You know what's happening. but to see it is very different than to just know it. I'm gonna kind of go and just pick folks. Did anybody else watch this besides me? If you did, chime in.
I saw it.
What did you think? What did you think, Cameron? I mean, not what did you think, but what were your feelings when all this went down?
Normally when I see these things, I just kind of like shake my head. I'm just like, wow, like how is this a reality? It's just kind of like what we were saying earlier. So it's just frustrating. Like I don't see how with one cop doing what he was doing to George Floyd and then like 3 other cops watching him thinking that what is happening right now isn't wrong or like isn't following their like whatever their training is. Like this is not like, it's common sense. Like I don't have to be a police officer to know that you shouldn't be kneeing in this dude's neck for 9 minutes straight until he suffocates and dies. Like it's mind-boggling to me. I just don't understand it. So it's really frustrating. But it was even more frustrating when I found out that they basically falsified the police report. Like they said like, oh, he died in the ambulance on the way there. It's like, no, he didn't. It's like, oh, he was resisting arrest. No, he wasn't. Like, and this is a police report. Like, how? I don't get it. It's just mind-boggling. That's all I can really say.
The how for me is how many, because we know that there are way more than we get a chance to see or hear or be privy to. Parris, you said that you looked at it and watched the video. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it, and just again, the overall sentiment that I have from it is frustration because I'm past being angry. The anger. It's almost like I'm like the Hulk. I'm always angry, right? Because this doesn't stop happening. So when it happened again, I'm not surprised. The sad part of it is that the way it happened, who it happened to, when you start to get the backstory on who this person is, and you realize he's up there because he's trying to fix his life. He's trying to do the right things, right? Mm-hmm. Whether he wrote a bad check or not, that doesn't matter. And that's just kind of the lesson, which again, unfortunately, I have to literally sit down with my children and teach them and make them understand. Here's police training 101, how to deal with the police if you're ever put in this situation, which is ridiculous that we have to do that. But it's like I'm explaining to them that it doesn't matter if he was a criminal. It doesn't matter what he did. You don't deserve to die on a street corner like that. No human being. It ain't about being black. It's about being a human being. You don't deserve to die that way. You don't deserve to be letting this person know, I can't breathe. You have people there. Hey, I don't think he can breathe. And you see the expressions on these officers' face, like it was a been there, done that scenario for them. Right. I guess you said everything's for free. We all holds bar, no holds bar here. So I guarantee you this is the sentiment that was at, well, he's just another nigger. Right. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Right. So it doesn't matter. He's going to suffer a little bit before we haul him in. And the other 3 just stood around and watched it. And that's the frustrating and the sad part of this is this isn't going to be the last time. I mean, that's the one thing that I told my kids, like, this will happen again. We will get outraged again. There will be riots again. The problem is what's going to be the catalyst to make this change? I don't see it. I don't see it. And I hate myself for having to say that, but that's just the reality of where we are in America right now. This is going to happen again. And we already saw it with the district attorney or whoever, with attorney general already making an excuse. Right. Yeah, it was horrific, but there was other evidence that wasn't criminal. It's like, those are not the words people want to hear right now. I get you want to do your due diligence, but don't say to the public that is already out there rioting in the streets that there's evidence that clears these men until you can 100% prove it, that it clears them. Because if you don't, you're just feeding into the narrative that this is just another black man that the world doesn't care about. Because that, to me, was the lesson that this week has taught me. Forget the global pandemic, forget all of that. Between Amy Cooper and between George Floyd, this week taught me that even in 2020, Black people are still second-class citizens in this country. It's what we are. Doesn't matter how hard you try. Doesn't matter how good you are. What you do, the way you are perceived is as a second-class citizen, and your life does not matter. And I know you want to get into Amy Cooper later, but Lord have mercy, I got a whole bunch to say about that.
Honestly, jumping off of the Amy Cooper thing, like for me, seeing all this stuff go down on Twitter and on the internet, right? Like I didn't watch the video because it's one of those things where it's very hard for me to watch that stuff at this point. Like I what was the one that Ferguson, Missouri, when that went down, right? Like I can't remember if there was video of that or there was another one going on around that time. But that was, for me, Ferguson was the event that kind of opened my eyes on another level as far as like what this is and what's going on, and especially like what the reactions are of the people around me, especially like the white people around me. For me at the time, living in Central Illinois and growing up in Central Illinois in a place that is very like mixed as far as like political views go. Looking around and kind of seeing the reaction from different people and seeing like people who I would call friends react to a police shooting in a way that was like, well, like, how do we know that he wasn't doing anything wrong? Or like, obviously, like the police aren't like out here trying to be malicious or and all these things, right? Like seeing reactions that for me shocked me, not really realizing what was there underlying the whole time. But yeah, like jumping off of that, right, and like seeing videos come out after that of like different situations and different shootings. I think around that was the original, like where like the "I can't breathe" slogan came from, out of the incident in New York. Like, you know, at a certain point, I was like, yes, Eric Garner, thank you. At a certain point, I was just like, I can't watch this stuff anymore. Seeing the image that came out with the police officer on George Floyd's neck, like. You know, that image, when I first saw it, I was like, certainly this can't be a thing that just happened. Certainly this was like an incident that happened years ago. That didn't just happen yesterday, right? And like the more and more I read into it, and the more and more info started to come out, and the more I realized that like, no, yeah, this is a thing that just happened, and it's exactly what it looks like. I think for me, I immediately went to the Amy Cooper situation. My mind immediately went to like just last week, a woman like called the police and told a black dude that she was going to call the police and tell them that there was an African American male like bothering her, and then proceeded to do it. Like the fact that these are puzzle pieces that people put together, and like the fact that was her exact wording, and not just like, I'm going to call the police on you, or like, I'm going to call the police and tell them that you're bothering me. I'm going to call the police and tell them that there's an African American male that's harassing me. Meanwhile, he's standing there just asking her to do the thing she's supposed to do. Like the amount of disregard paid, the amount of disregard paid toward Black lives is fucking ridiculous. In a way that, this week, like at the top of this, right, I've said that like I've allowed myself to kind of feel again in a way where, like, you know, after Ferguson and after Eric Garner, and after quite a few of these events, like I remember being weighed down by it so much that I was like, you know, I can't deal. Like, I'm gonna keep up with what's going on, but I can't like actively like talk about it, and I can't actively engage in deep discussion about it because it hurts to see. I think this morning for me was one of those things where, like, you know, opening up my phone, seeing the protests happen, seeing what's going on in Minneapolis, seeing what people are talking about on Twitter, seeing how the internet's reacting to everything, right? Kind of ignited back like that anger in me that I think was always there, and I think that we'll always kind of have, you know, seeing all this stuff going on. But yeah, like, it's just frustrating on another level, especially coming off of that Amy Cooper situation. I can't stop thinking about it, as ridiculous and as fucking insensitive and as fucking like racist, like casually racist as it is.
I want to poke at that for a quick second.
Can I add one thing to that?
Yeah,
I know I'm speaking out of turn. I know everyone wants to have a voice, but that was, to me, the irony of what's been going on. I saw the Amy Cooper thing first, and then it was like literally right after, because, you know, people are trying to make excuses for that. Oh, maybe she thought it was threatened. Oh, the police, they're not going to do anything. And then literally right after that, George Floyd happens, and it's like, see, this is why you don't weaponize the police, because you're upset with someone telling you to follow the rules, because that's all that came down to. And then when we obviously find out about, is it Christian Cooper is his name, right? I believe, or am I saying it wrong? Yeah.
Yep.
You hear his background, Harvard educated, wrote for Marvel. Obviously he was whatever the aviation stuff with the birds. I never say it right, but
birding.
The point is, this
he
was
a bird watcher.
when you see a picture of him, he's not a threat, but you literally your instinct was to say, I don't like what you're saying to me, so I'm gonna go get my police force to deal with you. And I'll make sure they come and they'll find you and call you an African American and that you're threatening me. And then she did the whole hysterical thing at the end. And the thing that, again, I keep bringing this back to my kids, and especially my son, I explained to him, if you were in that situation and you didn't have a video camera, at best, you're going to jail.
Yeah,
worst,
you just gotta
you're going to be dead.
Get out of that situation,
because it's your word against hers at that point, and they will not believe you. I hate saying that, but that's just the truth. He would not have been believed if he didn't have a video camera in that moment. She would have been the victim. No. He'd have been hauled off to jail.
Yeah, Zombie. I want to 1 second, Bless. I want because there's a really there's a point that I want to get to with Zombie around some of this too, because I know you do activism in these spaces where. You said you do some with folks who are incarcerated, or
mainly my focus of my reform and activism is over prison reform in Mississippi, being formerly incarcerated myself.
Yeah. What's the? I mean, I'm going to go back to the Amy Cooper thing because there's a specific question I want to ask the room, but I think that jumping off that point that Bless and Parris kind of started. You having worked directly with folks in those places, in those systems
every day.
What are the conversations that you're hearing from folks who have been locked up in what we can tell is a very corrupt criminal justice system in America anyway, and then we're seeing this very specific incident happen with I can't think of the thing right now with
Amy.
Yes.
With George Floyd.
Yeah, with George Floyd and all those other people. But hearing the conversations with Mississippi as well, being a place where we know there are a lot of corrupt police departments and there are a lot of incidents that happen down there that are not above board. What are the conversations that you're hearing from folks that you're working with that kind of being the foundation?
I want to say a few things, and I'm allowed to be really real here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is what it's for.
Are y'all listening? Fuck the police. They're not on your side. Don't teach your children that these are people that will help you. Don't look to them to save you. Not the police that are brown either. It is a system that is built upon the back and the blood of brown people in America. Period. It is prison labor, is slave labor, and it runs every business in here, and money runs the world here. So if you're sitting here and you're thinking, well, maybe this, or it's white cops. It's not. It's all of them. It's all of them, and it's open season on black people every single day. You know what they're doing right there? White and black cops right now, they're guarding his house. They're guarding these people's houses. Are they guarding us? Are they taking care of our lives? Never. It'll never happen. I told my kid straight up, my son is 5 years old, y'all, 5. Police officers come to their school, and they teach them, you should talk to police officers. I said, I don't want my kid included in these classes. When you have your little show and tell and buddy with the police, because it's not safe for him. Please remove my son from these classes where you guys try to train them up that the police are the good guys, because it's a fucking joke. And I'm that mom in Mississippi. I am that person 24/7. I am black in the South, in a place where when we disappear, nobody hears our cries. Nobody riots over us here. Nobody does a goddamn thing for my children in Mississippi. Yeah, you riot even in some of the whitest parts of America, Minnesota, wherever. Y'all go ahead and do it. But what about here? This happens every day here.
Zombie, what part? If you don't mind me asking, what part of Mississippi?
I live right outside of Jackson.
I unfortunately lived in Mississippi from junior high up until I went to college in Mississippi. I literally can back up everything she says, because I had the unfortunate, no disrespect to anybody that's from there. I'm not from there originally, but my dad was born and raised in Mississippi, and that's literally the reality behind it is we don't have that sort of same support, and you're not
Grace.
gonna find that stuff, because I mean, between Mississippi and pretty much Alabama, you're looking at the two, probably, I mean, there's racism everywhere, granted. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to co-sign that. Like,
Yeah.
it literally, those are probably the two worst states when it comes to, and which is crazy because pretty much the majority of the population is Black, but this is also the place
85%.
where, right, there's also the place where Black folks are treated the worst. So I just wanted to co-sign that for her, because it's somebody that literally, even now, I live literally pretty much right off the state line of Mississippi and Tennessee. So I'm literally right there. I'm like 3 minutes and I'm back in Mississippi. So I'm like, I just wanted to co-sign that because she's right.
They kill us in prison here every day. We've had over 38 inmate deaths in the past, like, I think in the first 3 months of this year. Okay. 38
At
inmates
Parchman?
dead. At Parchman. Jay-Z.
Yep.
Jay-Z has sent people down here. We're now suing our prison system actively. We're trying to work. We've got a massive amount of things that are undergoing. But Jay-Z and Beyonce's foundation actually have sent a lawyer, and we're now suing at a Supreme Court level the Mississippi justice system. So I don't know. And it's hard for me. I'm listening to you guys talk, and you guys are like Cameron sounds like it's like he sounded shocked maybe, but like, I can't be shocked anymore. I'm 37 years old. This has been the reality as long as I've been alive.
Yeah.
There's no shock to my anger. My anger's so old and ancient now, it has a different vibe to it. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I'm with you.
The anger comes with this exhaustion that permeates your being of Blackness. And I'm sure Parris knows. Parris ain't young. Parris gets it.
He damn sure
You
ain't.
know?
I'm gonna just say it. No, I'm just playing. I'm fucking with you. I can't hear you, Parris. Your mic is muted for some reason.
Oh,
But it's an older thing. There's no outrage anymore. You can't be outraged. This is the reality. It's always been the reality. Next week, more Black people will be murdered. The week after that, more Black people will be murdered. Watch the videos. Show them to your children. And I hate to say the trauma that we're going to think that this creates, but if they don't see the reality, Kahlief, like you said, your grandma said, It doesn't affect you. We live in a social media world where everything's pretend and everything's staged. Until they look that horrible death in the face. I sobbed. I threw up when I watched it, Kahlief. I threw up.
Well, really quick, because I know Parris was about to say a thing. I know that there's been a lot of controversy within our own community about, like, should you share this stuff on social media? Should you pass it around? Should you, I guess give it more air than it rightly deserves, I'll say this personally for me. I've stopped sharing stuff like that because I know the trauma that goes along with re-traumatizing people, right? I understand what that means to people's psyches. I know when I was broken last week, I couldn't deal with any of that stuff. If I do share that stuff out, though, understand, and this is for everybody in the chat, this is for everybody who's going to listen to the podcast later, this is all the people who are going to be tweeting at me on social media. When I do that stuff, it's not for Black people. It's not for us. And I hate to use this word because it makes me mad when I say it, but the consistent and constant re-education of white people about what happens in this country to us on a consistent basis, on a constant basis, is infinitely tiring. To do that work because you choose to do that work is different than saying, I don't know. There isn't a person on this planet right now, unless you can't read, you can't see, you can't hear, who doesn't, and you're not of age where you can comprehend what's happening, who is an adult who does not understand what is happening to Black people all around the world right now. So when you say that you don't know, and I was so surprised and I didn't know how this all could be like this, I don't understand. Motherfuckers, it's not that hard to understand.
If they gun me down, you better video it. And I want someone to be watching when I go down. If they gun me down, I want someone to see me. If they gun me down, I want people to see what truly happened, because the police will lie every time. It is in their best interest. They're a corporation. There are paychecks involved.
Yeah. I will one at some point tell my collard green story, my cops and collard green story, which is a very, very interesting and funny one. that will bring some levity to this conversation. Parris, I know you were about to say something prior to that. I want to give you space to go ahead.
And it was just relevant to what Zombie was just saying, that I'm old and I'm from the South.
Me too,
I was
boy.
born and raised in the South. So I know what real racism is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like growing up as a kid in elementary school. I used to walk home from school every day, and the white kids down the street would call me a nigger as I'm going home. And I was taught to ignore it, to basically hold your head high, be bigger than that, and don't engage. That's how I was taught as a kid. South Florida, it is what it is. Well, as an adult, I lived my early 20s. I lived in Japan for a while, so I get to see a completely different culture. I got to see how Black people are perceived outside of this country, and it is different. And I'm not saying there's not racism. Of course there is. Even now as an adult with my own family, I live in suburbia, north of San Diego, and my kids, and I'm just explaining this to them recently, we live in a bubble. I know there's racism here, but I don't experience it directly, almost to the point where, and this is where the story comes in, I think I kind of fooled myself a few years, like, it's not that bad. I went back home. I hadn't been home in years. I went back home to Florida to go hang out with my mom. It was her 70th birthday. And I just remember I went into a convenience store to buy something, and I'm standing in line. There was white lady in front of me, white cashier. White lady in front of me, the cashier is just all bubbly, smiley. Hey, yeah, da, da, da. She buys her thing. I'm telling you, the second I walked up, like, it went from bubbly smile to just blank face, clutching the pearls, buy your stuff and get out. And it was like, at that moment, I go, oh yeah, I remember where I am now. Yeah. This is what it's like to live in the South as a Black person. I remember it again. And that has stuck with me ever since. And I'm very conscious of that. And I try to, educate my kids on this, that you are in a bubble. This is not a representation of the real world. Trust me. Yep. You leave this bubble, it will be different for you. Like my oldest daughter, she is now 18 and she's, going to college and everything. And I'm letting her know, you're about to start experiencing the real world. Not everything is like Southern California. And again, I cannot stress enough. Yes, there is racism in Southern California, but what I'm saying is the direct in your face, you're a second-class citizen because you're Black racism. We don't experience it out here where I live. But I know that is a truth for the majority of Black people in this country. And I'm sympathetic to it. And that's why I'm very vocal about it on social media. And again, going back to this week, this is the direct example from both angles, from the way that Amy Cooper tried to weaponize it to the way that Mr. Floyd was killed. This is our reality in America. And this is what people need to understand, that because, and I'm sure you all hear it too, especially on social media, because people are anonymous. So they say crazy stuff. Oh, you're over exaggerating. It's not that bad. All lives matter, blue lives matter and all that. But when is my Black ass going to matter? That's what I want to know. Yeah. You know what I mean? And until we get to that point that we matter, that George Floyd's life actually mattered in that moment, this country is going to continue to be broken, and we're going to continue to have these issues.
There's a part of the conversation about Amy. Oh, Cameron, you're going to jump in?
Yeah, I wanted to say first, Zom, I didn't mean to come across as like shocked that this happened, but more like shocked that this not shocked, like just tired of like how it's continuing to happen. And just like so quickly after Amy Cooper situation and everything like that, like I don't get shocked when these things happen. I'm just like, I just again shake my head like another one, like another situation has happened, and exactly, literally another one. So I don't want to seem like that I'm like wow or anything like that.
Well, it's your youngness; it permeates it. It's like
yeah,
God,
and I am young.
I wish I could be young and be like. I wish I could say that not living in Mississippi. Before I moved here, I lived in D.C., right? Mm-hmm. D.C. is a prominent Black excellence in a circle. Mm-hmm. So you can be in a Black bubble in D.C. and feel like, man, this is amazing. Look at all these cultures. And then I moved here, okay? I moved here.
Yeah.
Please don't ask me why.
It's
Go ahead,
as
Blessing.
somebody who's like lived in multiple different parts of the country at this point, at the age of like 25, right? I've not had like the time to experience all these things as like most people here, but like, you know, living starting off living in Champaign, Illinois, right, Central Illinois, moving to Seattle, and then now living in Daly City in California. It's been interesting to see like how things are different in each of these areas, but things are still the same at the same time, right? Because like in Seattle, I don't think I ever experienced like super overt, very direct racism aside from like homeless people calling me the N-word every now and then. Like aside from that happening, like all the racism I experienced was very like subtle and very much like for Seattle is like a very progressive, very kind of chilled, laid back city. Like any sort of racism I experienced there was very much like white people being either. And whatever. This is this kind of podcast, so it doesn't matter. But like white people being what you would expect like progressive white people to be in terms of that side of racism, if that makes sense. Like, you know, you kind of get to see what that's like. But yeah, being in Central Illinois, like most of the direct racism I've experienced there, especially involving police, thankfully like none involved like a shooting, but you know. Like even me, and I'm curious for Cameron too, like as somebody who's only 25 years old, right? Like there have been multiple times where, in fact, I'll say most times I've been stopped by police have been unnecessary and like unsettling in the ways that all those situations turned out. Like I think either the first or second time I'd been stopped by police, I was in college. I was probably like 18 or 19, and I remember having the officer like assume and accuse me of maybe having weed in my car, despite me being like this sweet church kid that would never do a drug, hadn't even drank at the time. But because me and my friends were chilling, me and my friends were kind of doing our own thing. Out of nowhere, got stopped and got pulled aside by an officer, and that wanted to, or that threatened to search our cars for weed, my car specifically. I've been stopped in my own neighborhood by police officers who thought that maybe I didn't belong there because I was just parked on the road minding my own business while picking up a friend, to the point where as I was picking up the friend who lived in the same neighborhood as I did, like officer came up to us, asked if everything's okay, asked him directly, my Asian friend who's also taller and bigger than me, like who could defend himself against me easily, asked him like, hey, like, you good? Is everything okay? And it was one of those things where me and him looked at each other like, what the fuck is going on right now? It's everywhere, right? Like in some places is way worse, right? Like I'm so glad, no offense to Mississippi once again, I'm so glad I don't live in Mississippi for that reason. I've heard stories from my sister who lives with her family in Texas, and like, you know, I hear some horror stories there too. Like it's for people in the chat, especially like for white people listening, right? Like it's a thing that we all experience. Different levels, like different levels of experience, and different like cases happening in different parts of the country and different parts of the world. But like no matter where you go, black people are being treated terribly.
Yeah.
Before can I kind of chime in on that a little bit?
Yeah, I want you to jump in, please.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to be sure, because I know like there's probably like topics and stuff that you want to tackle, but I kind of wanted to like kind of add on to that, because like me, I'm probably the youngest person in here. I'm 25 years old, almost 26, and I'm going to be honest and say that, you know, because I am, and this is something that I think all people should be aware of, that generally speaking, I am what's considered the quote unquote acceptable black, because I'm light skinned, curly hair, racially ambiguous. And I do think that, you know, lighter complected people or folks that are racially ambiguous or whatever, or that people look at me and they think I'm, you know, full Latina. And so I'm basically I'm passing, so I'm acceptable, you know what I mean? So and I think that that's important for people to be conscious and aware of, because not to say like people that look like me don't experience that stuff, because we absolutely do, but it's also, I do have to be aware of my privilege in that situation. So even though I have experienced things, especially as I've gotten older on the different platforms and things that I've kind of become a part of, but generally speaking, like sort of that, like, you know, Parris's experience, like I haven't experienced that. Now I will say, I wanted to kind of chime in on that, because even though I have not personally, my dad does. My dad's in his 70s, and, you know, so, you know, he was born in the 1940s in Mississippi. in Red Banks, Mississippi. And, you know, his dad was actually, because his dad had him when he was, you know, kind of older age. His dad was born literally, I think, just a few years after they abolished slavery. And he was lucky. I never met him, of course, because he passed away. Like, he passed away when my dad was 8. He passed away when my dad was really young. So, but he was lucky enough to like have owned land. He owned land, owned a farm. Like, he was definitely one of the lucky ones being in Mississippi. But obviously that puts my great grandparents as being slaves. And a lot of people, I think about that now, and that it's really messed up to think about, because there's people whose great grandparents still alive today. Mm-hmm. And who can go visit their great grandparents. Whereas me, it's like, no, I can't. They're passed away. But it's crazy to think that it was not that long ago. But I say that to say, you know, I've had these not me directly, but even just my dad, like hearing him talk about these things, you know, just the fact that he literally went to the high school that I went to was the same school that he went to. And, you know, it was basically the school that they, like, when they desegregated it, they basically went and created a white, you know, private school for the white kids that did not want to go to school with the black kids. You know, he went through drinking at segregated water fountains and things like that. So he lived that. He's been there, whatever. And I was blessed enough. My mother is white, but I was blessed enough to have a mom who was always very blunt, did not, you know, has done her best to be an absolute ally. The fact that she has black children, she's never tried to invalidate my blackness. She always wanted me to embrace it. You know, don't straighten your hair, don't do this, et cetera, et cetera. Learn your history. Don't teach my kids that, you know, she even was blunt to say, don't teach my kids that Thanksgiving went this way. No, don't teach my kids that you know, pilgrims were nice to Native, you know, indigenous folks. Like, she was very blunt about that. She was like, don't lie to my children, kind of thing. And I'm so thankful for that, because I think that I kind of was brought up in a sort of, even then I wasn't even living in the South at the time. I was living in the Midwest. I was living in Kansas City, Missouri. But I just always had parents who were very blunt with me, and who I've had the kind of privilege of knowing about this stuff. And I wanted to mention how and I was going to ask Zombie if you had heard of him. My uncle was actually a civil rights activist in Mississippi. His name is Alfred Skip Robinson. And I mean, he passed away in the 80s, but he actually founded the United League of Mississippi.
I actually do know who that is. That's amazing. That's really cool.
You do? Okay, good.
Yes,
yeah.
I do
So
know that. That's really cool.
my uncle who's still with us, my dad's brother, because this is my dad's family. He actually just released a book called Untitled, Skip the Last Freedom Fighter. And I actually did, because I actually have a history degree, and that was one thing I kind of wanted to touch base on, is me studying history. I can't tell you how many times it was difficult to sit in a class, because, you know, I don't think you probably see a lot of black students that go for history degrees. I was sitting amongst all my white classmates, and we're sitting here getting down to the nitty gritty about what happened to Nat Turner, like actually what happened to him, the fact that he was hung, quartered, and skinned, and made an example and paraded about the town. And how I was sitting in class fighting back tears and just looking at the people around me. It's like, you know, I mean, this is stuff I already knew, but just hearing it like actually told in a kind of professional setting like that, it's emotional. But even studying history, you see that, you know, these institutions have been around to do the things that they're doing now, but it was in a different way. All they've done is repackaged it and rebranded it. That's all that's all that's happened.
Yep.
That's literally
branding.
it. Yeah. And you know, Zombie talked about, you know, even the black and the brown cops, it's that blue line. And so many of them aren't going to cross it. And who knows, maybe back way back in the day, because like my uncle, he ended up trying to run specifically because it was in Holly Springs, Mississippi. All the corruption and stuff that was happening there, you know, he ran for sheriff because he was like, I want to change this. He taught, I did actually my final, my senior project on him, that not just him, but the Black Power and armed resistance movement of Mississippi. And I talked about my uncle in there because that's what he did. He's like, you know, we're having all this stuff happen to us. Like, I want you guys to be safe. I want you to protect yourselves, et cetera, et cetera. And I can't help but to think, like, I thought last night, what would he say or what would he be doing if he was live right now? And I wished he was, and I wished he could, because he was doing all this frontline stuff.
Yeah.
And I sat there and thought last night, I really wish that he was here so I could just feel like I had some kind of insight. You know what I mean? Like, I just need guidance, because it's so easy to feel so lost. So it's like, even though me being like, you know, very young and obviously not having experienced a lot of these things directly, even just having that sort of close tie to people like my dad and, you know, my uncle, it's still just like, so I feel like I came into the world, even with my personality, but like this is what I was built for. These social issues, this sort of stuff, this is the stuff that I literally care about. This is what I pretty much like breathe and live now. And I just am so vocal about it. And I am definitely, it's 2020. There's no reason that people should not be aware of what's going on. If you say that you are, it's because you've turned a blind eye to it. It's not because you didn't have the resources, because it's everywhere. It's on every single news station. It's all over on every social media. It's just excuses. You've willingly turned a blind eye to these things if you are not aware. Now, if you're in another country or something like that maybe not covers this stuff, can't really blame you there. Whatever. But I'm talking, you know, when like because I don't know what they air in Japan. You know, I'm just throwing out some places literally across the world. But in America, it's like you have literally no excuse at this point. If you don't know about it, it's because you've been ignoring it, essentially, because it makes you uncomfortable. And it is an uncomfortable thing, but it's like, imagine how uncomfortable it feels for us, because we're living.
Or like
we're living
Kahlief
the
said,
reality.
maybe they're just sitting in white streamers chat rooms and they don't know what's going on.
Well, that is a, you know, I wasn't going to segue to that yet, but let's dig into that conversation, because I was going to hold that off until the break, which we're going to take after this part of the conversation. We have some of the dopest content creators and folks in this room right now. One of the conversations that we often see is that folks in our community take the time to do that work, to spend that time and to reach out to each other and to say, are you okay? We're having one of the dopest conversations that Twitch has probably ever had around something like this, because we know the platform is not going to give us a spotlight to have these on the front page. But I think that the interesting part has been not only in the streaming spaces, which we see all the time be really vocal about some shit and not vocal at all about other stuff, but we see it also in the gaming space that we all inhabit and that we all take time to be a part of and are, I would say, we're all like parts and ambassadors in that way for our individual outlets and streams and all that stuff. What have your thoughts been about how quiet it has been over the past week from some of our white counterparts who have not said a goddamn thing about any of the black people who have died? Can
I please start this off?
I will give you the floor. Pika, you have the floor.
Please. Can I, like, to what extent, this isn't like censored or anything, right?
You can say whatever you want. This is our show. This is our show.
Do it. Go off, Queen.
Go off.
Yeah.
This is ours.
I'm to the point where I don't even fucking care. I don't think I've ever been so ready to square up with any of these fucking people in my fucking life up until now, because I am so fucking fed up. I am over it. All these people got all this shit to say about Alinity because she threw a fucking cat. All these people got everything to say about quote unquote titty streamers who are just trying to police women's bodies. Everybody has everything to say about, oh, I just don't think you should have a starting screen for this amount of minutes. It's stupid. Or you can't use somebody else's emotes in my chat because that's self-promoting. But ain't got shit to say about actual hate crimes.
Yep.
And completely silent. Because it's all, I don't want to bring politics. Well, I'm fucking glad that you can ignore this shit because it's quote unquote politics when this is a lot of people's realities. You have that privilege of being able to ignore the shit and act like it's just not existing. And I'm fucking sick of it. Because they want to sit here and say all this shit and act like they're so this and so that. And then that ties in directly with the fact. And I'm going to even go as far as to say this. There are even, unfortunately, some black streamers who have done this where they sit there and are so desperate for views and subs and followers that they will sit there and allow their communities, they will sit there and develop these communities full of all these white people and not check them on shit, and then have the nerve to put in their little rules or whatever else, don't discuss politics in my stream. Because you want that approval so bad, because you care about quote unquote making it on Twitch. And I'm just gonna be honest here. Half these motherfuckers ain't gonna make it on Twitch. You're not, period. I'm probably not.
Shit.
Let's just be real.
We're not.
But so you're doing all this and for what?
I'm just saying.
Because you want to be the black ninja, you want to be part of TSM. What's up? What are you trying to gain from it? But is all that shit worth what you're sitting here doing? Is it all worth it? Because I see so many people do that. They literally sit there because they don't want to scare off their viewers. Why do you care that much? You're literally willing to basically sell out. So I've seen people that have been getting called coons and shit. I'm sorry. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a fucking duck. Because that's exactly what you're doing. Because suddenly you don't care because you want to make it big on Twitch or YouTube. That's what's important to you, not your own fucking people. Like, I'm sorry, it's bullshit to me. So it's like I can expect that shit from the white content creators and the white streamers, but the fact that there's people of our own communities doing this shit, it blows my mind. And I'd be ready to fucking fight because I'm like, I'm fed up with it. Twitch is not my life. When I sign off of Twitch, like, and you can't separate me. I'm Katie and I'm Pikachulita, but you don't get a separate person. I don't do performative shit, and I'm not going to not be who I am on and off stream or on Twitter. I don't care if it affects my viewership. I don't care if it accepts any opportunities. All the people that I want supporting me are going to support me regardless. St. Jude, beautiful. All of them have been wonderful allies to all this shit. BGG, everything else. They're doing exactly what they need to do. The main people that I care about in terms of my branding and my sort of partnerships, affiliate, whatever else, are not going to throw me under the bus. I don't want to work with any sort of brand that would even give a fuck about me speaking out about this stuff. But it's all, and then there's even people who will sit here and be quiet the whole time, but then speak up about looting. So you didn't say shit else until the topic came up about looting. Yep. Now you got all this shit to say. And I gotta be mindful of keeping what's within TOS, but just know I'm fed the fuck up. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss that much, but I'm a pacifist, and I am genuinely probably the nicest person you ever meet. I will give you the shirt off my back, but I am fucking angry and I'm fucking tired, and I'm literally like, I'm all for calling people out, whatever. I don't care. This whole cancel culture that people act like exists. Cancel culture don't fucking exist, but cool. Expose these problematic people. Expose these people, because silence is complicity. If you're silent, you're complicit.
Who is?
I got a vibe off that. I got a vibe off that because there's some black girl magic happening, and y'all just need to go ahead.
It really is. Go ahead, girl. Go ahead.
With this shit. Okay, y'all ready to get Harry Potter with this black girl magic? Because it's coming through. If you're a brand and you're in gaming right now, and you are watching the political climate that exists, and you haven't said a goddamn word, I don't want your sponsorship. I'm not going to wear, if Nike came to me this goddamn minute and said some shit and they hadn't spoke up, yeah, they gave some money to Kaepernick, so we're going to give them a little bit, but fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck all of it. Fuck it all. Who is a black person right now in gaming who's not like, fuck you? Ninja can get fucked. Take your money back from him. If you're subbed to all these white men, Gathalion, I don't care who the fuck you are. I don't care what platform you're on. I'm on Mixer. I just moved to Twitch.
Welcome.
Not a gosh
welcome
damn person on Mixer who's white, who I have seen be a partner, has said shit, and very few of the black ones. Very few of the black ones. We have a minuscule community. We're not like Twitch. Like our communities microscopic. We're like hanging out, the 4 black people on Mixer who were vocal all the fucking time. It's a
literal Mixer at that point?
It's a literal like dinner party with 4 people on it. So and I'm a co-streaming partner. So I have a partner. We're called Sugar and Spice. She is a white girl. The best ally. She don't shy away from nothing. We don't church it up for nothing. She doesn't try to stifle my blackness. She is the best ally I could ask for. She's in the chat. Her name's Battlebug Plays. She lets me be unabashedly black every day. She sits there and encourages my blackness. Today we had a little problem in our Discord. Somebody might have said something out of pocket, you know. It could have been construed as being inconsiderate about trans, gay, or black people. We made a statement in our Discord because we don't believe. If you want to hate anything, you can get the fuck out of our Discord, unless you're hating Nazis, and then go ahead and punch away, baby. Because we ain't no pacifists up in here. We believe in flipping tables and fighting folks. So we want to make sure that people know when they're in our community that we love and we support black content creators. And I am black first. I am a mother next, and I am a streamer dead fucking last. You understand? Like,
yeah.
The streamer shit. Oh, you're going to hurt your brand. Oh, you know, Logitech might not call you for the headphones. Maybe I got money for my own fucking headphones if it means you don't care about my life.
Here's the kicker, though. Here's the kicker, though. I'm actually a Logitech affiliate, and they fuck with us heavy.
Yeah.
There's I think somebody else in here. Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because my Logitech guy, he's actually Guatemala, and I'll connect with him over stuff. Be like, you need anything from me? Just keep being your own awesome self. Well, clearly he doesn't have an issue with us, so you're good. Right. And they've actually made it a point to reach out. Shout out to Logitech, by the way. They've actually made it a point to reach out and say we need more diversity. And they don't just talk; they do it. So it's like, yeah. So,
there's so many.
But, you know, I go with you going for.
Zip.
But you're both hitting on the issue. You're both hitting on the reality of this issue. Let's just speak the 100% truth. I'm old, so I don't give a shit. It is not profitable to denounce racism. It is not profitable to defend people of color. That is the 100% truth. No. That Guatemalan person that you just mentioned, he is a person who obviously rocks with us, and I love him to death. I won't say his name, but there are other people out there that love us to death and will reach out to us and work with us. But you're talking about, and again, it could be whoever you want to say in stream or whatever. It is not profitable for them to risk their brand to speak on an issue like George Floyd being killed. It's not that they're not going to do that. That's the reality of it. Again, this goes back to what we said at the beginning of all of this. People of color in the United States of America, and really globally, are still second-class citizens. They are.
They're only profitable when they're working for people.
Look. They love our culture. They will profit off of our culture. But when one of us actually needs them, crickets. That's the reality. That is just a 100% reality. And I guarantee people will watch this and get mad that I say this, but I really don't give a shit because I don't care. Because I'm, like you said before, Pika, you know who you are. I know who I am. I am proud being who I am. And I know the reality of the world. So I see the whole streaming culture and the content creation culture, and obviously I'm a part of it. And I love to create things and, talk to an audience and do all that kind of stuff. It's great. It's an amazing hobby. But the reality of it is when dollars start getting involved, there's certain things that you might stand for, or certain things that you might say that they're not going to mess with you. Because you're quote unquote too toxic, because you're talking about Black Lives Matters and all this other stuff. So, no, we can't talk about that. Oh, you thought Amy Cooper was a bad person. So no, you can't get that sponsorship because that might hurt our brand. That might lower our profit margin. And that's just the truth. And I'm not saying that's everyone, because it's not. There are definitely some people out there that I see them on social media. I see them speaking up for people of color and speaking on these issues. But are the majority of them doing it? No, and they won't.
And I'll double
because
down.
It's about money.
Go ahead, Bless. Nope. Go ahead, Bless.
Oh, well, I was gonna say I agree 100% with what you guys are all saying. I also think there's an added element of fear of the audience. Like there are a lot of deep rooted elements when it comes to the gaming audiences, gaming communities, and I think there is the very fucking sad and unfortunate reality that a lot of people in gaming communities just don't want to hear it, right? Like if bigger streamers started talking about this shit, like I imagine chat would get out of control. I imagine people would start leaving. I imagine because there's so many ignorant white viewers that aren't prepared, aren't ready to hear that kind of truth. which is unfortunate. But yeah, like I think it does come down. I think at the end of the day, all this kind of comes down to just fear of what would happen if you're actually outspoken about these topics.
I'm gonna add to that because I think that's a really important part of this whole conversation, especially when we're talking about content creators, talking about the gaming industry and all that together. One of the things that I've been rallying against for at least the past couple of years since we really started to kind of push on Twitch was the idea around that fear being baked into the platform, right? It's not a thing that is discreetly shared or said to be done on Twitch. There's no part of TOS that says you can't talk about politics. There's no part of the TOS that says you can't talk about real shit. But it is this unsaid, unwritten rule. We talked about it with Story Mode Bay last week about these unwritten rules that are baked into people's streams where they feel like they can't have those conversations. So you see so many big streamers who are, one, trying to play the apolitical side of the fence. Two, they don't galvanize their it's easy to galvanize your audience around charity, around giveaways, around all the fun shit. But I never see even the low-hanging fruit that you could have in a space from a big streamer who is on the front page and who's constantly getting promotion from the platform to do the smallest move where you can get some of that stuff done. The fear is baked into there, but I think a lot of these cats are just straight up garbage when it comes to it. They don't want to deal with it. They don't have the words. They don't have the understanding to be able to have these conversations in a good, comprehensive way. That's not the fault of the audience, although the audience is complicit and the audience also constantly is talking about, we don't want to hear about this stuff because I just want to watch you play fucking Minecraft dungeons and shit. But if you don't have the words to do it, that's why shows like this and other shows that are willing to do that work are so important. It's the reason why having spaces like this, where we say fuck it for an hour and change and say like, yo, this is what we got to do because this is what this is all about. And at the end of the day, like Pika said, when I turn off my stream, I'm as black as fuck anyway. I still have to worry about what I have to do. I still have to go through my checklist every day. Do I have my keys? Do I have my wallet? Did I tell my wife where I'm going? Can I take the garbage out late at night because I'm going down a dark alley to go do that? And I don't trust white people to have good conscious reasoning to do what they need to do when they see me walking in the back of an alley. These are all the things that we have to constantly kind of roll through your head to say like, oh, I have to do this. I need to make sure that I'm okay in all these circumstances. Go ahead, Bless.
Well, piggybacking off of that, right? Like a question that I've been asking myself a lot over the last couple of days with all this going on is, what is the balance between having like a lot of big, like you look at the biggest content creators and it's all white dudes,
right?
What is the balance of conversation when it comes to wanting them to speak up and be vocal about these issues, but also not wanting them to dominate the conversation? Because I don't want white people to dominate this conversation. Because I like every time I see a tweet from a white person regarding these issues, right? Like a lot of times I'm just like, I don't like, cool. I'm glad y'all are with the cause, but at the same time, I don't necessarily want to see mostly white voices talking about this. Like I care more so about what people of color have to say and what black people have to say about Black death.
Yeah.
What does that balance look like?
I have a semi answer for that, but if anybody else wants to jump in first, I would love to hear that first. Anyone want to raise their hand?
I would simply say, I'm sorry, I've talked enough. Please go, please.
I just wanted to say, like, in general, I feel like that a big thing is just, we just got to pick each other up. We just got to support each other in general. Like when I saw, the Spawn on Me post, I was like, all right, everyone who I'm not following right now, I'm following right now. And I'm like, I'm in it. I want to hear what you guys have to say when moving forward with these things. And the people that are in the chat, like, I hope that you follow all of us so you get that insight that Blessing's kind of talking about, so that, maybe while there are white people that have the top of the conversation, like a lot of people are, listening to them, you always have like this group of people, for example, on your feeds that you can like look at, like, okay, I see what they're saying, but like, let's see what people that are actually being affected by this stuff are saying, which is more important.
Yeah. Parris, jump in.
Yeah, I was just simply going to say, I understand what Blessing is saying. You don't want the quote unquote big streamer white voices dominating the conversation about people of color, right? But instead, those same people should be using their platform to signal boost the people that should be speaking on said message. That's the way I look at it. If you have a huge platform, go find that voice that is educated on the subject matter, that can speak on it better than you can, and give them your platform and audience to speak about this stuff so that your audience is educated on it. To me, that's the best way to handle this, because now you're not speaking out of pocket about things you're ignorant about, but you're also leveraging your platform to signal boost the message.
Here's the second layer to that part of the conversation. I would love for that to happen, but we see not even in the conversations around race, we see those folks are extremely selective about who they are around, right? And it's only because it is a clout boost upon clout boost. If I can get my boy, it's the reason why you see everyone in the same circles, playing with the same people, doing the same content with the same folks all the time. You are one of the most prominent black voices in gaming right now, Parris. I bet you, if you were to say, hey, Courage JD, hey, whoever else it may be, Nate Shot, hey, let's do some dope content together so that we can have a conversation around this thing. The first thing they're going to be is like, well, what do your numbers look like? How much influence do you have? How many impressions will you get, so that I can jump off of that and we can do some other stuff that a brand would like to get with, because that's what important. That goes for brands too, where we see that all the time, where again, motherfuckers know us. It's not like they don't know who we are at this point. We have been doing work in this industry for at least 5 to 7 years, even more than that, with Parris and me at like 10 at this point. There's a lot of people in the space who know a lot of shit, know a lot of people, and have good impressions and good knowledge that they can be sharing with the greater audiences. It goes back to that conversation about sharing videos of Black Death. I don't do that for us. I do it for them because they need to see it. So the conversation about where that winds up working is that you have to then either build your own shit, build your own platforms. None of us are going to be building a new Twitch, or a new YouTube, but when you have your shit, you have to make sure that you bring on other people. You have to make sure you bring on voices that matter. You have to make sure that you bring on those alternate conversations, so that when people who are all the wonderful folks who are listening right now in the chat and at home, they can signal boost that shit for you, so that then the bigger audiences can deal with that in a real way. I have 2 questions for y'all at the end of this. Who wanted to jump? Cameron, real fast.
I just wanted to say really quick, I also feel like problematic as to what we're saying is that kind of what we were saying before about how people, like streamers, won't talk about these politics in their streams and things like that. Like signal boosting other people that might bring up that conversation could also end up being problematic for them, which is another like issue for them, even though it's stupid. But I think that is also a potential thing as to why we also don't see a whole lot of signal boosting in that sense as well, on like white creators to black creators that are like really, really big. Does that make sense?
I guess to a certain extent, but I'll counter that.
To a certain extent.
To a certain extent, but I'll counter that by saying this before we take a quick break. You'd lose absolutely nothing by using your platform to signal boost shit that is reasonable, honest, and visible. It's not like any of this shit is being made up. It's not like we're going to bed in the Matrix and tapping into some shit and being like, oh shit, look at that, I just got my ass beat by a cop for no fucking reason. Like, no one's doing that, right? So it's like the idea around why can't I do that work is because you are way more worried about your personal brand and way more worried about having to do the actual work than worried about what happens to the actual people who are watching your streams, who are subbing to your channel, who are the people who are making you the money that you then go get to spend and do all the cool shit that helps you then recirculate that back into your content. That to me is the actual issue, is you have to take a step forward and say, yo, this shit is fucked up. It's affecting people who care for me as a content creator and care for my work and are boosting me up in ways that are supporting me financially and giving me the life that I now currently have. If you're not willing to do that work, then you gotta say that out loud with your chest out and be like, yo, I'm punking out and I'm not going to do that work. I'd much rather that than you try to front through and just be quiet. So we're going to take a minute 30 break. I'm going to let you see something that I found really, really amazing. And then on the flip side, I want to talk a little bit about the conversation about white people policing spaces. And to end out the show, I want to talk about things that are bringing you some sense of joy during all this madness that's happening right now. So take a second, think about that. Everybody in the chat, massive amounts of love to you for all rocking with us on the Spawn Me podcast. Again, this is stuff that you don't get anywhere else. So make sure you support the fam. Make sure you give everybody in the chat, everybody, all these wonderful content creators some love. And we'll be right back after this.
White people won't save you. 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 White people.
All right, we are back. This is the Spawn on Me podcast. I'm your host, Kahlief Adams. We are having the blackest podcast of all time.
That was amazing, by the way.
Massive
That was
love.
amazing.
That was
Massive
incredible.
love. Thank you.
It was.
That was
Incredible.
whitepeoplewon'tsaveyou.org. It was for the folks who are listening at home on audio. We will definitely figure out a way to figure out how to put that into the show somehow. But I saw that today, and that brought me some joy. We're going to talk about that on the last part of the conversation with our wonderful panel, and then we'll have our who's invited to the cookout segment after that. But the question that I wanted to ask the group, so we talked about Amy Cooper. We saw the other video that came up this week with these two black entrepreneurs who were working out in this building. They were working out in the building gym of this place that they owned an office, and were working out and going in. And this white guy walked over and started to question them with the usual, why are you here? Who let you in the building? How did you get into the gym? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Mind you, they had an office in there because they work in that office and they work in that building. The thing that I want to talk about as a bridge to that conversation is we see often, right? We have the conversation around how to keep yourself safe. We have the conversation often about all the things that we as black men, black women, black trans folks, everybody does to safeguard yourself from being attacked by the police, from feeling like you're presenting yourself as a danger to white people in some of those ways. Some of the stuff is, internalized in a way where you don't even think about it, but you wind up doing it. But it all comes from a place of white people feeling like they have the ability and they have the right to own space. I'm curious about, after seeing that video of Amy talking all this shit, yoking up her dog and doing all this stuff, Well, supposedly,
Tore that dog up.
I mean, I've never seen someone who was afraid for their life walk towards the danger. Like that to me is some shit that I've never seen.
Except them in horror films. It's literally like
Yeah, really cheesy horror films.
Yeah, like that was
Right.
the epitome of the oh shit, I heard a sound. Let me go over there and look at it. Look for
right,
it
exactly.
kind of stuff. And I've never
I mean,
seen
it's
that
very
shit.
stereotypically Caucasian,
I mean,
like in a
look,
movie.
I mean, look, I tell my wife all the time. I was like, I love you, but if you fall, I'm leaving.
I'm leaving. Bye.
I'm running. If you trip, I'm running.
I'm out.
Oh, you did it to yourself. But I want to hear from y'all because it's a part of the conversation, right? Where we try to figure out how do we keep ourselves physically safe? The mental parts are different. Like I think we have found good ways to cope with that. But the physicality of keeping yourself safe when you see people impeding on you because they believe that the space is theirs. What's the conversation sound like in your head when you see things like this? When you have these kinds of feelings? I want to kind of go to Zombae first with some of this stuff because I know you've had this conversation with your child. I know you have this conversation with folks who are working and
Oh, you might not like what I say. I'm going to be really.
Be honest.
I
mean, that's it.
I take up space. I don't shrink myself to be smaller. It's impossible to save yourself from execution from these people. If you think wearing a bow tie every single fucking day is going to save you from being executed, that's where you fucked up. You're not going to be safe. You're never not going to be a threat. You're a black man, first of all, you. My son is a black man. It doesn't matter if you're wearing a hoodie and going to get some fucking Skittles. It doesn't matter if you're wearing a bow tie. It doesn't matter if you're wearing gym clothes. You are a threat no matter what you wear. And there is this delusion that is amongst our people currently that we can somehow save ourselves from this prosecution or persecution, execution. It is a lie. I don't tell my kids to comply and to make sure they talk very clearly and use proper diction. I'm not raising my kids to live that way. I'm not going to fucking live that way. I am tattooed. I'm a 200 plus pound, 5'8" black woman. I'm never going to not take up space. I don't walk on the other side of the street when you walk at me like you're going to push me out of the fucking way because you're white and you think I'm going to move. I'm in Mississippi. I would spend the rest of my life keel towing. If I keel tow for the rest of my life, I would spend the rest of my life making myself smaller for other people. And I will not do that. I will not live in fear. I will live with the knowledge that this is what will happen at some point if this altercation comes to be. And there's nothing I did to deserve it. And there's nothing I could have done to prevent it. And I think the reality of that is lost upon our people right now because it doesn't matter how well you talk. It doesn't matter, your education. It doesn't matter anything. And the delusion that we could tell our kids something else it's setting them up for failure. So I don't teach my kids that. I talk to my kids about how unsafe they are and how to have apps on their phone that instantly record to the cloud and, like other things. I teach my kids to call a lawyer and have them on the phone. I teach them the ACLU's phone number. Like I don't teach my kids how to be small. And I think there's power in knowing that, but I will never make myself smaller for white America. I won't do it.
Anyone else have thoughts about that?
I 100% agree with Zombae and everything she said. Like, I think for me, right, like it was the realization after Trayvon Martin when that was the big story that was breaking that like I kind of had to sit down with myself and be like, wait, a hoodie is not like that's not a terrifying like outfit. Like a hoodie isn't like a sign of like I'm a threat or anything. Like I wear hoodies every single day to school, and like Trayvon of course happened when I was in high school, and at a time where I would wear hoodies every single day. And I think that was kind of the point where I was just like, yeah, fuck it. Like I can't dress up for white people. Like I can't dress up for police. I can't dress up in order to portray myself a certain way in order to try and protect myself, because as we've seen time and time again from all the stories, right? Like it doesn't matter what uniform you're wearing. It doesn't matter how you're dressed. It doesn't matter how you look. Like it could happen. It could happen to any of us, right? It could happen to anyone. Like any of us can get persecuted, and no matter what we're wearing and no matter how we present themselves. Like the times that I've been stopped by police, right? Like I'm a dark skinned black dude with like a very kind of like, I feel like ambiguous kind of tone, right? Like I don't necessarily like I I don't talk using slang all the time. I don't like talk a certain way. Like I have a very like neutral presentation when it comes to my voice, and that doesn't necessarily stop officers from treating me a certain way. And so I think the thing for me is that I've kind of kept in mind when it comes to those situations is if anything, not necessarily present myself a certain way, but just to be aware. Like what Zombae is saying about like recording things, for me, like that's definitely like if it comes down to that, like I'm definitely pulling out my phone. I'm definitely recording a situation. I'm definitely being aware at all times that things can go south. I'm like paying attention to if, for example, I come in contact with an officer, if I get stopped for speeding or something, right? Like I'm at all times trying to be aware of what the situation is, seeing what things might go down the way they go down, but that doesn't necessarily involve me trying to what Zombie is saying, right? I'm not trying to shrink myself, by any means. I'm not trying to, act a certain way in order to appease somebody's feelings, because like at a certain point, it's like, what's the point? Like, why does that matter? That's not going to change anything, even.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I would say just through my personal experience, not particularly with the police, but just with like people being like racist towards me, through growing up in school and stuff like that. I didn't get to the point where I made myself feel small, but I just had to like block it out. I just had to stop it, like just not let it get to me, both physically or mentally, because when I went to high school, not most, but a lot of the population at my school were Latter-day Saints. And, and I have plenty of great friends that are Latter-day Saints, but a lot of them were not great. And because I was in a lot of honors classes, I was like the one black dude in my class that was smart, like that was in those higher educated classes. So it was open season on me, and like if I didn't get one comment like per class per day, it was surprising, like, oh wow, I didn't get any sort of BS comment towards me regarding how I'm dressing or just me literally sitting in my desk doing nothing. So it got to the point where I just had to, and then like, there were points where I like told my teachers like, hey, these people are being assholes to me. They didn't do anything, they're like, oh well, like, and so I just, you just, in that sense, because I was raised by my parents. They just said to just block it out, ignore it, like don't get into fights. I know a little different than Zom teaches their kids, which is perfectly fine. Like different environments, different lives, like different times. It's just how it is. People feel that they're the best way to raise their kid, and that's absolutely justified and valid. So for me, it was just got to the point where I just had to block everything out, just ignore them, just stop trying to interact with them, because I'm just enabling them to continue to do it. And eventually they just stop, they end up stopping or just doing it less often. So, and then, with police, just normally, I've only had 3 recent, I know 3 sounds like a lot maybe to some, but 3 recent police interactions. Some people in the chat like 3, like in the past 6 months. Yeah, probably. And the first one was just, my friend got pulled over for speeding, but it was like at nighttime. And then the cop was walking up to the car and he didn't have his hands on the wheel. I was like, put your fucking hands on the wheel right now. And I put my hands on my lap. I'm like, hello, officer. How's it going tonight? Like, I didn't want any potential thought that we were trying to do anything sketchy. And, there was one time, the most recently, I found a loaded gun, like right on my apartment stoop. Had no idea, but I was just like, well, I got to tell the cops that there's a loaded gun here. I can't let it sit here. 3 cop cars pulled in, and I was immediately just like, it's not my gun. I didn't do anything with it. I was like, I didn't touch it. I was like, and it just gives you that mentality that, like we said before, that anything can happen when you interact with a cop. Like anything can happen.
Yeah.
I'm literally going to give the cliff notes. I'm not going to go back to 1925 like I did before.
Totally
so
fine.
The McDonald's thing. So obviously you must have heard about the police, all that stuff. I went to McDonald's. The cop then follows me from McDonald's all the way back to my house to make sure that's where I lived. Right? Ridiculous. I was outraged. But it was the second story that I was bringing up, and this involved my wife, because she was pregnant at the time with our youngest daughter. And my wife is white, by the way. So we went to a movie late one night. And as we're coming out of the movie theater, I see a police car. And as we're getting in the car, I say to her, I go, he's gonna follow us. I hope you know that, right? And then she's like, that's outrageous. No, he's not. And I was like, watch. Sure enough, we get in the car. He follows us. Follow. All of a sudden, the lights click on. Pulls us over. I literally put my hands out so they're visible, so you can see where they are. I told her, you just do all the talking. I ain't saying nothing unless he asks me a question. He asked to see her ID, the whole thing, the registration, all that kind of stuff. And his excuse was, oh, you guys had a broken tail light. No, we didn't. And it's exactly, like I explained to her, living in America, these are the things that we have to go through being African American. Especially me, I'm a big old black dude. Everyone sees me, I'm instantly viewed as a threat. So he saw me in a parking lot with a white woman and wanted to make sure that she was quote unquote okay. That's all it really was. So, it's
crazy how much
like
that
I
happens,
said, I don't,
it's still upsetting.
Yeah.
Like fucking
yeah, very.
police asking if somebody's
Same
okay right in front of
shit
you. And it's like,
happened to my parents. I shit y'all not. In Mississippi, black man, white woman, got pulled over by the cops. Asked if she was okay, then acted like it was just some phenomena, I guess, of seeing an
What if
interracial
Parris was
couple.
being
Asked,
kidnapped? That'd be
right,
shit.
and like thought that they were on drugs. And it's in Byhalia, Mississippi. I shit you not. The same thing happened to. It's always, and can't think of how many times I've been told that somebody has asked my mom, "Are you okay? Are you safe?" And it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But before we dip out, because it's runaway slave hot in this goddamn room. And the
field's hot.
And VMix just fucking shit the bed and died on me halfway through the best stream on the goddamn planet. Fucking technology. Anyway, I want to talk really quickly about something positive, because I feel like even though we're consistently inundated with all this terrible shit and we have all this stuff that's happening all the time to our communities, around our communities, and all that stuff, have you found any ways to, how are you coping, and have you found any ways to have joy right now? Are you finding any ways to be able to cope in a reasonable good way? Like we all play video games, so that's one thing that we all have in common. But I would because like I'm drinking but I would love to hear
lots and lots
if you
of
have
wine.
anything that you right now is bringing you any joy, anything that's giving you any solace, anything that's giving you any comfort. Anyone can jump in on that one.
Talking to you guys.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Safe spaces, man. Thank God for safe spaces.
Yeah.
yeah. I
Talking to
think the
y'all.
thing for me, like when it comes to like the coping thing, I think when it comes to the situations, like the Amy Cooper situation or the George Floyd situation, I think for me, like managing my social media usage, managing how much I intake stuff. I know there's like a delicate balance, because you don't want to forget what's happening. You don't want to ignore what's happening, but at the same time, you do. Like as Black people that are kind of forced to be in the situation of looking around and seeing people that look like you kind of fall and die, in ways that don't need to happen, in ways that are tragic. Like, it's one of those things where I think for me, as somebody who's on social media all the time, I kind of have to manage and make sure that I'm not, becoming depressed without even realizing it. Yep. Seeing this stuff happen over and over again. And so like for me, the coping side of it is like managing my social media usage. But yeah, like as far as the things that are bringing me joy, like I know you said like we're all video game people here, right? Like I've been playing a lot of Apex Legends, that's been helping quite a bit. Been playing a lot of Overwatch, that's been helping quite a bit, right? Yep. Like being able to play games
Animal
with people.
Crossing.
You play Animal
Yes.
Crossing. I thought you were gonna say you play Apex.
Both of those.
Fine. What do you play on?
I am an Animal Crossing person. I'm just gonna tell you the fucking truth. I am
What
sitting
do I
on
play
an
Apex
island.
on?
Yeah, what do you play
Loving it.
Apex on?
PC and PS4. I just
Same.
started on PC.
Okay. I'm gonna
We
have
should
to
get,
get
like
you
we
to
should
get
get
more
groups going, play some
Yeah, we gotta get some games
Apex.
dude. Yeah,
terrible
Apex
at
season
Apex.
5 is
Take
changed
our
my life.
rage out. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Zomba, you play Overwatch?
Yes, I am
Ooh,
Okay.
I
a
got
diva.
Overwatch too.
I'm
We
a
got
diva, and
rotation.
I'm a Moira main.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
go. That's
Same.
exactly
We
what
just
I
gonna
do.
have to
Yeah.
link and like just change
I
origin
average
and
49
Steam
kills a
names
game.
and
Oh shit, let's
Ooh.
go.
Yeah, we should
Let's
definitely
get
plan like
back
a
on
game night.
topic.
That'd be really fun.
Just go ahead and put
That'd be
that
really
out there.
cool.
Anybody
But yeah,
else?
like,
go ahead.
I'll say yeah, like doing that with and hanging out with people, like that's like the thing, like using that as a way to chill and talk to people and socialize has been a thing that's really been helping.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything that's bringing them joy and helping them kind of get through this?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I'm sorry, you wanted to.
No, please.
You sure? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually literally gonna say like Apex, Animal Crossing. I literally last night was playing one of my favorite games of all time, Sonic Adventure 2, and Chow Garden is just always gives me the best Sonic game ever. Period.
Yeah, all the Sonic haters in the
Sonic
chat,
Mania, though.
get out.
It ain't no Sonic
exactly.
Mania, though. That's what I'm gonna say.
I love that. Is literally I'm showing my age here, but I'm more of a 3D Sonic game person than a 2D one. So, anyways,
Same.
Go off.
But yeah, just gaming, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been very lucky because I'm just gonna be blunt. I almost exclusively follow nothing on Twitch. I follow pretty much nothing but Black and brown content creators. I have, I've got a whole bunch of folks in BGG, the Cookout, like places like that, and or other, like Black and brown folks, like one of my friends, she's a Desi woman, like, I pretty much, that is good in itself for my mental health, because I know that nobody I follow is gonna be on some bullshit. Which is it's good to know, you know what I mean? And like I said, wine, I'm totally serious about that. Wine is great. Also, just I think the biggest thing is it's hard, like I said earlier, knowing it's like you seeing all this shit, but you can't stop looking. I do have to tell myself to, I think it is healthy at sometimes to disconnect, even if it's just for an hour or two, because it's just like overload. You know what I mean? It can be just a lot of stuff to process, and knowing when to disconnect. And obviously self-care looks different for everybody. I'm really big on self-care and stuff. I even today, on my lunch break, I slept. I took a nap because I had a pounding headache, and I felt tremendously better. Whoever's on a diet or watching what they eat, have your cheat day, have you some nice food, like, treat yourself, because this stuff is really, really hard. And just knowing, like, I've had people reach out to me. I've had, I've had Black folk and non-Black folk reach out to me, and it both means it means a lot. It really does mean a lot. And I think just cultivating your space, having the right people in your corner to either talk about this stuff with, having a safe space to talk about this stuff, like-minded people to talk about this stuff with, and just knowing that there's people that kind of have your back and, love you and care about you and know your pain, know your anger. That in itself to me is comforting. And I think that's honestly the biggest, even outside of games, wine, all jokes aside, things like that. That's really the biggest part of this, because I literally sat there and said, I don't think I'm in the right headspace to stream. I saw a cause tweet. I said, bet, tag me and coach. And now I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm not good, but you know what I'm saying? Like now I'm like, okay, I'm actually going to stream tonight, because I feel I'm still not in the best headspace. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like I can do it now. And this actually really helped me. And I think, honestly, it helped a lot of people even in chat, because I've noticed a lot of folks saying thank you. And, I just think that these sorts of spaces, and I think that's honestly the biggest thing. That's the thing that holds the most weight for me, at least.
Word. Cam or Parris? Want to jump in?
Yeah. Well, Parris was going to speak next. So Parris, go ahead.
No, please. I have to talk way too much. Please.
No, everything he says is great. So yeah, for me, just games, right now I'm playing through primarily Persona 5 Royal. I'm a big JRPG guy. For those in the chat that don't know much about me, I love JRPGs. I also been streaming through the Paper Mario series, because I've always wanted to get into that franchise. And I know that the new one comes out in July, and I was like, this is a great excuse to play through all of them and just might as well stream them. So, me and Kahlief play Warzone and Apex all the time. And that's a good time too. Outside of that, just like knowing when you need to take a break from social media. Like I'm on my phone more than I want to be honest, like when it comes to Twitter. And today, like, even though it was for good, like so many people donating towards the Minnesota Freedom Fund. I was just like, this is really cool, but it's also just making me think about everything that's happened, and it's stressing me the fuck out. So I decided, like, I'm just gonna once I'm done writing for the day, I'm gonna just lay in bed and take a nap and just try and turn my brain off for a few hours. And so just know when you need to take a step back and just take a break. Like, life will be back when you return. You don't worry about anything else but yourself when you need those breaks.
Yeah. Parris?
It's been a few different things. I'll just say just the pandemic overall, I kind of hit a mental wall about a couple weeks ago where every day seemed like the damn same, right? And it was just like, I need a break. Like, gaming was not feeling fun to me at all. So I kind of went back to my comfort game, which is The Witcher 3. And I've been playing that the past few weeks, just immersing myself in the world. And obviously, I'm crazy for Cyberpunk when that comes out. But beyond that, like, this talk right now has been great. It's been very cathartic because I feel like I'm letting out all these thoughts that I've had in my head, and I'm just letting it out into the ether, into the world, for someone besides my freaking wife to finally hear, right?
Yeah.
Which is good. But I honestly, I'll say the third thing, and I think he might still be watching, but shout out to Danny, shout out to Godfrey.
Yeah.
We talk every day. And Kahlief, I even put you into this too. You've definitely been a great sounding board the past few weeks, but specifically Danny, the batshit insane conspiracy theories he throws at me for gaming that we have offline, not even on the podcast, brings so much joy to me because I laugh and and it's great. But that's how we're helping each other cope, is we have these conversations. I see how he's doing in New York. He sees how I'm doing out here in the family. We talk about gaming stuff and life and everything. And it's nice to know that, there's people out there that, care about you and are concerned about you, that check in on you, stuff like that. Like, I think you had even pinged me the other day, just, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Everything good. We was going back and forth, but that's what's bringing me joy right now. And I would definitely say with the social media, I might kind of tweet a lot. I think I talk at Twitter and don't respond to Twitter because, man, if you try and engage on that social media stuff too much right now, it's not good for your health. Mm-hmm. It's definitely not.
There's madness out here for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bless.
No, I didn't have anything. I was just agreeing.
Oh, okay.
What about you, Kahlief? How are you doing?
Something that is bringing me joy, of course, video games. That's one of the things I love. My wife has been holding me the fuck down, for sure. It is interesting to have a white lady who gets it in my life, because there are a lot of white people who don't.
Shout out to my mom.
Yeah, so it's like, it's one of those.
Yeah,
things
shout out to my mom too.
Shout out to my wife. I think she gets it too much sometimes, to be honest.
Yeah. So, but it's nice to be able to have a partner who although does not go through it, understands and can relay that back to people. She's doing the work of relaying and signal boosting the conversation to the people that need to hear it, which I think is the most important part of that equation. Because I'm tired of doing the work to make white people understand simple shit. The other thing that brings me a lot of joy is John Boyega.
Oh man,
He's my spirit.
That's a continuous cycle.
What a king.
Although I don't live in the States, but I'm black. Fuck that. So I'll say it again. Fuck you racist white people.
That's
everything hits hard in that UK accent.
Yo.
And if you don't fucking
I know.
like it, go suck a dick.
It's different.
Seriously.
People.
It's not about Korea. It's not about money.
It's not a career.
Because a lot of people like to bring that up. Oh, Korea, money, all these things. All those things were just a part of my dream, just a part of working. That's got nothing to do with how you treat people. It's a madness. So when I say it, I mean it. And you lot can't rattle me. That's another thing. You can't rattle me. I'm not the guy to be rattled. I wasn't raised by no weak people. You understand? I ain't a guy to be rattled. So first of all, you're going to respect black people online. And make sure if you comment on all my pictures or videos and you saying anything about no black people, you saying any racist shit, that's straight up block. It's fine. It's ready. Don't need you on my page. And if you're a fan of me and you support my work and you're racist and you're arguing with what I was saying, fuck off. You fucking dickhead.
Oh man,
Yeah?
Well, you know what's serious when you don't pronounce the T's. Like when you don't pronounce the T's, that's when it's a situation. When you say
that brought me joy.
bro,
I
that
want
man
you
was
to know
feeling
that was something that brought me joy.
That brought me infinite joy.
Something.
That
brought me joy in something else, because there is something about seeing a black man. First of all, I've always loved John Boyega, but there is something about, like, I always thought he was a handsome guy, but there's something about that and seeing a black man who is on that sort of shit and is not like, and is where he needs to be when it comes to that sort of shit. I was sitting over here like, and then add the accent in too, and not trying to like fetishize it or anything, but American accents be kind of trash, and I know mine is, so I just be like, whew, I was sitting over here like fanning myself like, okay, well, that brought me a lot. I felt a lot of things from that, because
for me it was Lord. For me, it was this morning saying he had a tweet, or was it last night? I guess it was yesterday, but I saw it this morning. He tweeted, please, I'm Yoruba. All your chit chatter on this here app won't cut into the soul. Yes. Thunder fire you, right? And for me as a Yoruba Nigerian, right? Like reading that was actually the thing that kind of brought a fire into me this morning, where I was like, you know what, John Boyega, you're fucking right, man. Like I am Yoruba. Like thunder fire you, man. Like there's something special about that man. Like he's doing God's work, and like it's awesome to see him doing what he's doing.
It's something powerful about seeing our people say fuck you. Like, I'm not gonna be sad. I'm not gonna let you try to take my power. I'm not gonna let you make me live in fear. But fuck you. My husband's black. I'm black. My kids are black. Yeah. My mom's a racist ass white lady. Fucking trash. Love her to death. She's my mom, but she's trash. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. She uses the N-word with impunity. A lot of biracial kids deal with this, where their parents are racist as hell. My mom is racist. She married a guy named Hank. He drives a truck. He's in the Mississippi militia. Need I say more? Do I need to say more? I don't think I do.
Oh God.
I have a black partner, and hearing my husband come in and be pissed. He works in black tech. He's a black tech guy. That's like his life. Hearing him come downstairs and be like, man, fuck these people. Fuck these people that say this. If anybody in my work says this shit, I'm quitting this job. I don't give a fuck. And I'm like, we should have another kid.
It is.
I don't even have my.
That was when you knew.
I don't have a hysterectomy, but we can. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure this shit out. Right.
Be an immaculate conception.
But I'm just telling you, there's something about not letting these people take your power. And I think at the end of this, if there's anything that's gonna bring me joy through all this shit, because 2020 is fucking rough, bro. I feel like I've a lot. I want to see us take this and become empowered. And not in a way, it doesn't have to be the loudest of ways. It doesn't have to be the most revolutionary of ways. But let's stop living in fear. Let's stop allowing these people to have this much power over us. Let's keep these spaces for us. Let's start fucking working towards more for us. There was a point where we wanted separate but equal, but we thought we could force our way in, right? We forced our way in. We got in here, and then we'll never be on their level. Ever. They won't let us. So we have to start making our own spaces, our own safe spaces. Black Girl Gamers does stuff like that. The cookout I've heard about, I haven't directly interacted with it, but Black Girl Gamers, I know they do this. Then there's like Black Girl Code. I've been finding all these groups that I didn't know were around, and I've been like finding these awesome places, and we need these. Because these are places that empower and lift us up, and they light the fires that allow us to continue being fueled from within. Today, this refueled my cup when it was close to empty. Y'all, cheers for that. Every single one of you refueled my cup. Every person in this chat is filling up our cups. You know what I'm saying? Cheers to that. Keep filling up your cups and don't let them drain you fucking dry.
Word. I think with that, that is a perfect way to almost end the show. I have one more thought before we get up out of here, but I want to give the stage to our wonderful, amazingly dope panel that rocked with us today. I want to go around the loop and let everybody share their socials, where you can find their work, and where you can check out most of their stuff. Zombie, I'm going to start with you.
I'm Zombaekillz across the board. I was on Mixer. It's really quiet there. It's like a dinner party, so I'm over on Twitch trying to find more brown people to vibe with. But yeah, I'm over here on Twitch. I just predominantly do GTA RP. I play a lawyer, a criminal defense attorney.
Oh, that's great.
So that is also cathartic for me. But you can find me everywhere. Twitter, Twitch, Mixer. I'm Zombaekillz. I'd love to have you. I might say some shit y'all won't like, and I'm just going to tell you. I'm just going to keep it real every day.
That's fantastic. Parris, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Vicious696, probably rambling about something cyberpunk related or something, because that's all that's going on in my life right now. But also part of Gamertag Radio, and we're partnered on Twitch, so you can find us here on Twitch, Gamertag Radio. And then I have my own personal YouTube channel where I'm starting to create content over there as well. You can just search my name, Parris, Parris, and you'll find me on YouTube.
Bless, what do you got for me?
I'm on social media at Blessing Jr. It's at Blessing JR. You can follow me on Twitter. I also host Kind of Funny Games daily, quite a few days out the week. That's youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. So you want to check that out. And I'm also a co-host on PS I Love You XOXO, which is a PlayStation podcast, if you want to listen to that. And that's available on podcast services around the globe and also on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames.
Pika, tell the folks where they can find you.
So I'm pretty much Pikachulita on all platforms, Twitch, Twitter, even Instagram. Twitter, I'm pretty much, social issues, funny stuff, cute stuff, gaming related stuff. I am a variety and I am a diversity and charity focused variety streamer. We talk about everything over on my channel, from shit like this, self-care, sex education, things like that. Super inclusive community of almost 8,000 people over there. Very big on LGBTQIA rights. I am a bi/pan Black woman myself. Uplifting queer folks, trans folks, Black and brown folks, et cetera, et cetera. We do have conversations surrounding that sort of stuff, and I pretty much play anything that's not sports games, Call of Duty. You'll see me playing some farming game 1 minute, and then running shit in Apex the next. Just kidding, I'm average. Sometimes I'm good. But I'm pretty much just like all over the place. But at pretty much on any platforms you find me on, I'm very vocal about this sort of stuff. This sort of stuff is a regular topic. But yeah, it is just Pikachulita. Oh, and I do want to shout out real quick two organizations that I'm a part of. BGG, Black Girl Gamers, and the Cookout, both wonderful organizations who are out here doing the work, creating genuinely safe spaces for Black folks, and also Brown Girl Gamer Code, because even though I'm not a part of Brown Girl Gamer Code, as you follow them on their socials, and they're also out here doing some great work.
Word. We definitely hope to get Cookout folks and Black Girl Gamers on the show again. To rock with us sometime, hopefully this year. That would be fantastic, because we haven't had a chance to talk to them in a minute. Cam, you ended out before I get my last 2-second rant in.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at the Cinephile Guy. I also stream twitch.tv/the Cinephile Guy, and I write for DualShockers.com. We have a great diverse group of passionate writers over there, so please give them a check out as well. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Before we get up out of here, I'm thinking about things that I'm trying to figure out to cope with all the madness that we see in the world today. I had a really good friend of mine in the industry poke at me one day and was like, yo, he saw all the things that were going on. He was a white dude, and he was a person I consider family and an ally. And he asked me, how was I doing? How was I coping with all this stuff? And I said, yo, fam, the only solace that I really have in times like this and living in a world full with white supremacy is knowing in my heart that none of this is my fault and none of this is our fault. We've never been in power in this country. We've never owned the ability or had the ability to run government in the way that we should and probably could. the ideas around scary blackness have always been embedded within this country, and it's been a thing that is the biggest lie ever told. Racism is the biggest lie ever told. So the solace I find in knowing that I'm not losing my mind, and that most of the things sadly are out of our control, but we are constantly blamed for all the ills that happen in this country, lets me go to bed at night okay. So if you're watching this and you're checking out the show, it is not your fault. It is not our fault. We had nothing to do with this. It's not up to us to fix it. And we have to lean on each other to figure out ways to get through this. So with that, I will leave you with massive amounts of love. Again, this is stuff that you only get here on Spawn on Me. And I hope that you all have a wonderful night, a safe night, and that you take care of each other and take care of yourself. Much love to you all. Have a good night. Peace.